Still 5 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
Longest 5 seconds. Hi everybody, welcome back. Mo here again. Today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about peace corners. So we talked about this a little bit with the fidget videos and incorporate some of the things from the fidget videos. It's just more specifically talking about how to create a peace corner, especially in a classroom or somewhere where there's lots of people in one spot. Maybe in your home, if you have a lot of activity in your home and you're looking to create a spot that's kind of calm and quiet for your child or for your adult who needs to have some space. But to start with, we're specifically going to talk about peace corners for children, and most specifically for the classroom, but also how you can curtail it to your home as well. So for starters, you want to designate a place that it can have some privacy. It's not a spot that is completely removed from everyone else. So this might be a desk that is in kind of a corner of the classroom. But again, being really mindful that this is not a punishment, so they're not on timeout. I know sometimes classrooms have like timeout desks where students go, and so this is not one of those places, and you want to be very clear that it's not one of those places. So it might even be like a spot, if you have like a small library area, it might be a spot where you put also some books. So like there's some books, and then maybe like in the middle there's some cushions or a bean bag or something that's comfortable, and the students can request to go there at any time. We've had these spaces for specific children, so if maybe like you have one or two kids who are accessing it, or we've also had them for the whole class. So there's pros and cons to both of those things. You want to think about your class. Are they a class who is really about fairness and justice, and they really want to have they want everyone to be treated as equally as possible? And we'll probably have another video about equity versus equality and why those two things are different, and really helping students to get where they need to be using scaffolding and supports. But for the purposes of today's video, you might have a classroom that is very in tune with fairness. So you might want to have this spot be available to all the kids, which is fine. And there's a specific procedure that you can use to do that. This is something that I started doing probably like a year or so ago, and I hadn't really formalized it or put a name to it. And then through various trainings that I've been to, picked up some more information and kind of compiled it all into this peace area idea. So you want to, again, just designate that peaceful area. Sometimes you could use like one of those temporary walls that you can just kind of like move around in place, not an actual wall, because again, you don't want it to feel like they're too separated. Same thing for in your home. Maybe you have siblings who are sharing a bedroom. Really create a spot for each child to kind of feel like they have their own zone that they can go to, and they can just kind of have their own stuff out, their own area to decompress and de-escalate. Include any items that you want to use for calm de-escalation, coping. So sometimes you might want to have a visual. I've seen visuals posted in those areas of, a person taking a deep breath, a visual of counting to 10, a visual of asking for help. So maybe the student just needs to go there and kind of, they see the visual and they're like, oh yeah, okay, I can, ask for a break. And then, I just put my head down for a minute and ask for some help. So I also want to have some items in there. So some of the things that we've talked about in the past, you have your simple Rubik's Cube. Students can just turn and twist. You have maybe some of these squishy balls that we talked about. You have some of the fidget items, fidget cube, or fidget dodecagon, apologies. And then also sometimes I have little puzzles. So these are like little hand puzzles. You just work on pulling these things apart. This one's metal. So if your student has a history of throwing things, then there's soft ones too. There's also wooden ones that you could get. This one you gotta figure out how to get this out of the middle. So it's kind of fun and distracting. Then you can also have, usually I have art supplies in my piece area. So some little like notebooks. This one says everything's gonna be all right. They could each have their own notebooks that they bring back. Some of them say like just be you. It's kind of cute. And you have some pencils and different mediums for them to draw, or just scribble out any frustrations. You also always need some sort of a visual check-in system. So when students arrive to the area, it's their responsibility to either flip the timer or shake the glitter jar. Once the glitter is settled or once the sand timer runs out, they do a self-check. So this is working on a little bit of self-management. Students might not have this skill right away, so you might have to go remind them, oh, I see your timer's run out. How are you doing? Are you ready? No? Okay, then you need to flip it or you need to shake it again. So we always want to give the student an opportunity to make their own decision about whether or not they're returning to class. We don't want it to become a power struggle. We don't want to say, your timer's run out, it's time to go. We want to give them as much time as they need. And what we found is over time, they start to incorporate themselves into the class more. So they kind of are able to make that decision. They're operating on their own, efficacy and wanting to be a part of the class. So we're not having to engage in the power struggle. And yeah, they're, missing out on some, time actually doing the work, but they're in the class and they hear the instruction that's happening and they're not being separated or removed and maybe feeling as if they're not a part of the class. They still are there. So that's another one of the benefits of actually having this be an option to your whole class. When we do have it as an option to the whole class, we'll do training with all the students. If it's just a couple of students, we do training with just the students who are using it. So generally I'll have students just use a peace sign if they want to access the peace area. So they just hold up a peace sign, the teacher knows, she says yes, or he says yes, go. And so then the student goes, they shake the glitter jar, set their timer, and they get to doing whatever it is that they need to do back there. Sometimes we have also Play-Doh or sand or sometimes slime, but it gets really messy, so sometimes not slime. The sand too can get kind of messy, but Play-Doh is a good one. So, they go back there for as much as they want. So now you've set up your area. You have your box, and it can be literally a box. You can put stuff inside of a desk. Sometimes you can use like one of those little bins from the Dollar Tree, and you put the stuff in there, and it all stays back at all times. So once you've done that, you want to train the students on how to use it. You want to give them guidelines. You always want to set a clear foundation of expectations, because if students don't know what to do with this stuff or how to access this stuff, then you might see students who are asking to go back there and they're just kind of playing and sitting for a long time. You really want to be clear that this is for if you're feeling like something is off. You can tell them if you start to feel like angry inside or frustrated, or like you just need a minute to yourself, then you can request the peace area. And in the peace area, there you'll see a timer or a glitter jar. As soon as you get there, start your timer, and that means that you can use whatever is there in the peace area to help you get back to readiness, ready for learning time. and you want to give each of the students an opportunity to see what's in the piece area. Maybe you could do like a little tour, have everybody walk by, everybody spend a minute there, like, hey guys, today we're all going to try out the piece area. Everybody gets 1 minute there, kind of, and everyone else is still learning. 1 minute, they switch out with one another. So they all get the opportunity to kind of see it, experience it. It's not like this big mystical thing. It's something that you could access when you need it. So they have their minute back there. They can use the stuff. More expectations that you want to set, or guidelines that you want to set. The stuff in the piece area does not leave the piece area. So whatever you're using back there has to stay. Can't go anywhere. Nothing can be destroyed in the piece area. So everything must be returned to as it was when you arrived, right? That's one of the rules, because sometimes if students are really frustrated, they can get back there and start ripping pages out of notebooks, and start kind of, I had a student who had a pair of scissors and was cutting things, and so you just want to be really mindful that if you have a student who's going to that area and starting to cut things or throw things, then you're going to probably need a different intervention for that student. And again, just considering that if that student's having difficulty with it, you're going to need a different intervention, a different way to support them. So you're going to want to consult at that time. But that being said, there are a wide variety of students who benefit from this piece area and having the opportunity to just take some quiet time and some regulation time. You should also walk them through what it means to check in with yourself. So, once your glitter is settled, once your sand is down, take a deep breath and check in with your body. Are my hands calm? Does my stomach feel good? Are my legs calm? Is my mind ready for learning? Is my mouth ready to speak appropriately? Are my eyes ready to look at my teacher? So just different things they can ask themselves. You can even make like a little checklist, readiness checklist. I'm ready to go back to class when, and then all of those things listed there so they can kind of see, okay, yep, I'm good. But they know if they need more time. So just reminding them to flip it, giving them a little walk by to flip it. So that's it for the piece area. That's all I can think of. And yeah, same thing, for at home, maybe it doesn't need to be as structured. Maybe it's just a spot where, your child can go to calm down, or if you are living with an adult who needs that space, then you're creating that space for them that they can go to and kind of use it to calm and de-escalate, and training them, showing them how to use it, when to use it, when you feel this way. Or sometimes, you've taught like a rating scale maybe. So if you're at a 3, then that's a good time to use the piece area. If you're, if you feel yourself kind of reaching that point of not being able to talk to others, or if you feel like you want to shut down, then that's a good time to use your piece area. So that's pretty much it. That's all I can think of to share with you guys on this topic. It's something that I really love using. It's such a good regulation technique, and I hope that you found this to be beneficial. If you have any additional questions about piece areas or how to use them, if you've tried to use a piece area and it hasn't been successful for any reason, then feel free to comment down below, and we could troubleshoot some of the things that you could do to help it be successful. And that's it. So thanks for watching. See you later.